most important is that regardless of who we're working with or how we're working with them, we always stay authentic in the work that we do. It doesn't matter if a client is investing 400 or 40,000, we're still going to deliver an amazing piece of work with them. When you go in to purchase something from Chanel or any of the uber luxury brands, you don't walk in and pull something off the shelf and say, I want it. Most everything is in a case. Everything is customized for every single person that walks in. They're not being sold to. So most of the fears in working with luxury clients seem to come in through sales and having this fear of sales, that you're not valuable, you're not worthy, that the pricing is going to be too expensive and they're going to think you're too much. But that's not for you to make that judgment. That's for your clients to make that judgment. And when you're with the right clients, you could say it's 400,000. They're still going to say, okay, because that's what resonates with them.
Hey there, everybody. Erica here. We are so excited for today's masterclass. We have one of my dearest friends that I have had. We have known each other for many years. I'm going to say verging on 15 or maybe even more. And Jacklyn is one of the very few people that actually knew me through when I was an event planner and we worked together on many events, from photo shoots to weddings to networking events, you name it. I'll let Larissa take it away from here, but I just wanted to say how excited I am to have Jacklyn.
Thank you, Erica, for that lovely introduction of Jacklyn. Hey, everyone, what's going on? Today, we are joined by Jacklyn Greenberg, an acclaimed photographer who is recognized globally for her exceptional talent of uniquely capturing profound connections and producing captivating imagery through energy, love, and emotion. With a signature style defined by hyper-realistic feel, as the visionary of Jag Studios, a full-service photography studio known for its sophisticated New York sensibility, she has pioneered groundbreaking work featured in prestigious magazines, including the honor of showcasing the first gay wedding in Martha Stewart Wedding Magazine and cover stories for Rangefinder, Destination Wedding Magazine, and Cake and Whiskey, to name a few. Jacklyn's work is prominently featured in over 60 online publications such as Esquire, Insider, and Carrots and Cake. She is among the top 100 photographers of all time and Fearless Photographers, listed in the top 100 of the International Society of Professional Wedding Photographers, and is one of the top 10 globally for Masters of Wedding Photography. We are so lucky to have her join us here today to share her professional expertise. Let's give a warm welcome to the incredible Jacklyn Greenberg.
Oh my goodness. I feel like that really made me understand why I get so tired at the end of the night. That was a lot. That was hysterical. Larissa, thank you so much. And Erica, thank you as well. That was amazing just to hear all those things at once. A lot has gone on in the past 18 years. I can't believe that we are almost 20 years in business now. Interesting, Erica, for you to say that we did start so long ago doing luxury weddings when they really weren't being done the way we did them. We were working with millionaires and billionaires 14 years ago. And I guess it's been a natural progression into the luxury industry, but ironically, not much has changed between now and then. I think that's the interesting part, is we've found our way into more luxury weddings, but we still have an amazing balance of backyard weddings or elopements or smaller events that you wouldn't expect clients to invest in us the way that they do. Our why has always been there, but we shifted it into a manner that allowed our clients to be more descriptive of what they wanted out of this, and we are just handing it back to them. I wanted to talk today about being authentic in the luxury industry. I do think there's this preconceived notion that everything has to be a certain way, that everything has to be uber luxe, and you have to be sitting in $2,000 chairs, and you have to have everything a specific way to hit a luxury client. And yes, there's an aspect of that, but also, no, there isn't. Our clients, some are millionaires and billionaires, and they still walk into our studio and kick their shoes off and get comfy on the couch. It's a very different way that we interact with them. And I think it's important to understand how to keep that sense of being yourself and being authentic, and why that's important as you shift into the luxury business. And maybe you're already luxury, but maybe it's stressing you out that you feel like you have to be a certain way with your clients. This is who we are. This is who we are with our clients, without our clients. They get us as we are all the time, and they want us here with them as part of their lives because of that. So I wanted to go over a few different points of how to shift that into your own business, but also what that means and what that looks like. Most important is that regardless of who we're working with or how we're working with them, we always stay authentic in the work that we do. It doesn't matter if a client is investing 400 or 40,000, we're still going to deliver an amazing piece of work with them. And we've become our clients' greatest, I don't want to use this word lightly, but we've become our clients' greatest addictions. They now turn to us and say, I know what I want next, and I know the artwork that I want. And they come to us with all of these interesting things because we allow them a place to be their authentic selves. And we have the ability to be as vulnerable as we possibly can to allow them to be in a safe space where they can be the same way. And it's a collaborative effort. We put our efforts in to give them back their most meaningful memories, their most meaningful moments, everything that they love and they can feel, but they can't actually touch. And I think that's a very important aspect to what we do. Can this be applied in the rest of the industry, in all industries? Absolutely. Sometimes there's more tangible products. Sometimes it's about an idea and a creation that you bring to fruition. It's always about bringing a client from point A to point B and helping them bridge that back from the concept of why they are doing something, whether they're getting married, eloping, having a proposal or a child or whatever may go on, to being able to hold those meaningful moments and memories. And the same thing works if you're a florist or a caterer. It's getting them from the concept to the idea into actual fruition. But being able to do that and be authentic and then pull in minimum 5 figures for every client is a whole other ballgame. It's very different when you're saying, hey, invest 400, then you're saying, hey, invest 40,000. But we actually never say that to our clients. We let them make the decision on their investments. Most of that happens because we put ourselves out there with a very defined style, and we've stayed true to that style for all basically 18 years in business. We can still show photographs that we created doing weddings with Erica, and it would look like we shot it yesterday. But the style that we've created has been timeless. It's true concepts that go beyond fads and trends and everything that has a fleeting moment of being soft and light or being dark and moody. This is emotions, and emotions will always triumph over anything that goes on in the world of trends. And because we've created that focus, it's almost as if they have the desire and they don't know that it exists. And then they find us, whether it's by word of mouth or extensive searching, and they will literally call us up and cry because they can't believe that there's something that actually feels good to them. They can't believe that they saw our work and cried. Seeing somebody else's wedding is making them cry because they can feel what's going on. So that emotional impact will always supersede anything else that goes on in any other sense of beauty. It can be a very small event, and it can be a very huge event. The details will always be photographed with just as much care. If it's little bags of popcorn or if it's extravagant bottles of tequila, whatever it may be, it'll always have that level of attention and artistry because it's just as important as why the little bags of popcorn are there and why the tequila is there. Regardless of the level of investments, there's a why. Why is that there? We're taking all of the elements that our clients find important and we're handing them back to them so they can feel that emotion forever. Part of finding that authenticity is overcoming the fears that you have. As for those fears, it's worth it to let those go. It's worth it to do everything you can to let those go. Because when you create the right connection with the right person, they are there with love and trust for the fact that they are investing in someone who knows what they're doing. But the way to combat those fears is to make sure every single thing is in line, that you can then back yourself up with how those things go. So if somebody says, what is it like to invest $40,000 in wedding photography? That's their call to make that investment from the beginning, but everything is highly calculated. So I can tell you down to the click what it costs for us to click our cameras. And I can tell you down to the minute what it costs for us to produce our artwork. So these are not arbitrary prices of, hey, it's $10,000 for a wedding album. That's actually too little for what it should be, because the value in the energy of what's going on in it is well beyond $10,000. And when we tell our clients that's what their album costs, they're like, oh, okay, what do we do with the rest of the photographs? And we say, let's do another album. Let's make volumes. Why don't you figure out what resonates with you, and we'll turn that into what works for you. And they say, okay, but that number, that amount may sound extravagant to us, but we're not our clients. So most of the fears in working with luxury clients seem to come in through sales and having this fear of sales, that you're not valuable, you're not worthy, that the pricing is going to be too expensive and they're going to think you're too much. But that's not for you to make that judgment. That's for your clients to make that judgment. And when you're with the right clients, you could say it's 400,000. They're still going to say, okay, because that's what resonates with them. But remember, all of this is set in point as we start working together. So this is not very arbitrary. I'm not like, okay, here's your album. It's $10,000. It's, hey, here's the ranges of albums. And when somebody asks me for a price list, I easily say, I am the price list. I'm happy to chat with you, to quote you on something specific that resonates with you, but it doesn't make sense for me to hand you this entire page of pricing and numbers and sizes that's going to overwhelm you, and you're not going to know what to do with that. Let's talk about what's going to resonate with you. How do you want to experience these photographs in the end? Where is it going to be the most meaningful to you? Because when you put that value, your clients put that value into that artwork, it doesn't matter if it's 2,400 or 24,000, they know that is the most meaningful thing they could ever have. So everything that we do is client driven. And I think that's important because our style is defined on what drives our clients. It's defined on the emotions and the energy. And because we have stayed true to this so significantly over the years, our clients have learned to refer us to those that they know will resonate with that. And that's been the deeper part of how we've lasted 18 years. I haven't done any marketing in 18 years. So now the world is different. Even if you're referred to someone, they still want to do research. They still have to go research it out and compare it themselves. You could be referred by 3 people and they're like, I still have to find out for myself. It's a very different world than years ago where someone would just say, okay, that sounds great. Let's do this. Having everything back you up is super important. During the pandemic, we decided let's use this time wisely and build everything back up. So we invested with Erica to redo our website. We spent an insane amount of time curating our work to make sure that it was the best of everything we could put out. But because what we do is so vast and we photograph so many different types of photography, we had to find the common denominator, which was people, which was life, which was love, which was a broader sense than being a wedding photographer or being a maternity photographer. We had to be able to drive this to be the emotional impact of what everyone had, because that's our sense of authenticity. Everything has to fall in place so that when these clients are being referred, which is usually what happens on a luxury end, somebody says, where did you get that? Or I want that as well. Most luxury clients are seeking out something no one else has. They love the idea that what they have is special, or what they have is beyond somebody's investment or beyond somebody's expectations. And so all of these pieces have come together to create our authentic brand, right? And our authentic visual impact of what our clients will see. Everything has to back up everything that goes on. So there's no holes in what we do. We have an answer for everything. Our pricing is completely calculated. Our website has every last little detail on it. It takes you on a beautiful visual journey. It's easy to interact with. When you have a phone call with us, It's the same level of care, but the phone calls are not, hey, here's what goes on and what we can do for you. It's, hey, who are you? And what's your story and what's important to you? And how can we translate that back to you? When you go in to purchase something from Chanel or any of the uber luxury brands, you don't walk in and pull something off the shelf and say, I want it. Most everything is in a case. Most everything can be customized for a certain price. There's another level of everything that exists. It's not a package deal. You don't walk in and say, oh, I'm going to get this full outfit with the bag. Everything is customized for every single person that walks in. They find the thing that resonates with them. Somebody comes over to help them figure out what resonates with them and figure out their style. They're not being sold to. Your clients are driving that sale themselves. So part of the authenticity in who we are runs through our website, runs through our pricing, runs through our phone calls, runs through everything that we do to find this level of consistency that is all client driven. And I think that's also where our sales are dramatically different. Our weddings are easily 30 to 50,000 with engagement shoot, artwork from the engagement session, the wedding itself, and albums from the wedding. And that's not including the fact that these clients are becoming $80,000 to $100,000 clients easily within a year because they're doing a risque session, a family session, they're buying gifts for family members. They literally come to us with the ideas and we just say, okay, let's do it. And it's all within reason. Not everything we do is custom. We have the most refined wall art. We have the most refined albums, but they trust that the details are cared for. And also part of the vulnerability is I let them know that I'm a Virgo. So if any Virgos in your life, you understand we are very big on the details and everything has to be super perfect. That being said, there are so many different types of personalities. And part of what allows us to be able to work with so many different types of people, especially on a luxury level, is being able to understand different personality types and what drives them, what moves them. Is somebody a person that needs to know that somebody else went through this and they did a great job with it? Are they somebody who's like a peacock and they are big and showy and they want the biggest of everything? Are they an A-type personality? Understanding different types of people and how they work allows us to be the ones that are morphed into our clients' needs. And then we can morph ourselves in how we act and interact with them. We're still being authentic, still being ourselves, but we're understanding their needs. Are they someone who's got a ton of questions and they want to know every last detail of everything? Are they someone who's just, I'm here to enjoy the ride. I trust you. Let's create it. So understanding that part of it allows us to be able to create an easy flow with any client that we interact with. We're not the ones who say you come in, you sit on the other side of the desk, you pick package A, B, or C. It doesn't work that way. And I feel like the concept of packages is a little like Walmart. It's there for anyone to pick an item off the shelf. There's nothing truly special about it. But because we do everything a la carte, we are then creating a custom experience for every single client that comes to us, regardless of who they are or their needs. We'll make it happen. Everybody's different. And being attentive to those needs, being attentive to how they need to be heard or desire to have this experience in their life allows us to be able to provide a level of service that is unmatched. The amount of time we spend with our clients is also unmatched. We have created our business to be that attentive to every detail. So all our clients agree to text messaging. Most of what we do is easy and by text message, but our entire team is on to be able to text. We'll say who it is and who they're talking to so that they understand who they're working with and when. And those little details are what makes everything that we do so incredibly simple. When they go to create their artwork with us, once it's ready to go to print, we'll do a proofing session with them. And we will spend the time to do a screen share so they can be the ones to approve their proofs and say they love every little detail that's going on and that they feel confident in how it's going to print and what it's going to look like. So everything we do is driven by the clients. And that was something that was very important when we were creating our website with Erica and her team, is that we were attentive to our clients' needs and desires. what is going to translate from what they're seeing online to what they're experiencing with us. What's the journey we want them to take? What's the fonts we want them to look at? All of those little details go hand in hand with your online presence, which is your digital storefront, like your social media and your Instagram. Does that serve the same purpose? Is everything being coherent and cohesive so that if somebody finds you online through Instagram or through a friend or on your website or something you've printed, everything reflects back to that same thing? Every Chanel bag that you find has the same level of craftsmanship. Every time you see their logo, it's just as beautiful as it is anywhere else that you find it. And that is why it's a luxury brand, because everything is cared for. And our friend came home with a Bottega bag and she opened it up and she took a picture of it. There was a handwritten note inside on custom letterhead. It's a $4,000 purse. It's not $8,000 or $16,000. But it's also not 40 or 400 where you go and pick it up off the shelf and grab it and pay for it yourself. Every last detail is cared for. So creating yourself as a luxury brand and being able to survive in the luxury industry for a lengthy period of time, it's reflected in every single thing that you do. Having that level of consistency is what helps define that, but having the authenticity in it is what helps that survive and keeps that afloat. So creating that authenticity, defining your style, your vision, making sure that is refined throughout everything that you do, creating your portfolio to be absolutely refined in composition and technique. Honestly, this is what's so important about mastering all of that. I can't tell you how many websites I've seen and somebody goes, they're really good at what they do. And I go on their website and I'm like, but look at the photographs. How does that match up? I'm sure they're good at what they do, but I have to go in and read in the photographs because it may be all of brides and grooms on their website, but they're a wedding planner. Where's the tables that they helped their clients put together and the decor that they created? Where's the consistency between the florals and the colors and all the details as they flow together? Where's the little touches that they help their clients create personal aspects within their wedding? All I see on their website are clients walking down a beach. It doesn't feel consistent. How do I feel a brand? How do I understand the work that you do through your online presence when it's not being cared for in those little details? How am I finding 4 different fonts on the same page? How are we finding things that are printed too close to the edges? I think it's really nice to have that beautiful border. Little detail is so huge. It's so huge. We photographed a proposal at Noda, which is an amazing sushi restaurant in New York City. We were trying to figure out how we were going to hide in basically a sushi speakeasy. So it's one dark room that has nowhere for us to hide. And somehow we have to look like we're not there so that the soon-to-be groom can propose to his girlfriend. And the maitre d' said, why don't we just say that you're here for the Michelin magazine and that because we're up for another Michelin star. I was like, that's perfect. I love that. So I said to them, oh, you're up for another Michelin star. And he said, no, actually, we're just going to get the same one that we have. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, I don't actually want a second Michelin star. I like the one that we have. And I was like, okay, but they want to give you another one. He goes, I'm aware of that, but I don't want it. I like our clientele. And once I get a second Michelin star, our clientele changes and it's not the clientele that I want to have here. Everything changes. And I was so touched by that because there are only 8 seats in this restaurant. He is creating sushi right in front of you, one piece at a time, and putting it on your plate and creating an experience that is like no other. And the clients that come there are ones that have heart and have soul and he has conversations with and he loves interacting with. And once he gets the second Michelin star, everything changes. The pricing then has to change to reflect that. The clientele who can afford that pricing also changes, expectations change, and he wanted it to stay authentic to who he is, regardless of the fact that he was being handed another Michelin star and actually denied it. So I thought that was an incredible aspect of staying true to yourself. So now these same clients, he pops the question, she says yes. we start photographing them and photographing the story. And it was amazing to watch him work. He made sushi, but he made it as if that's what he was meant to do. It was fluid. It was so cohesive. It was done with laughter and a smile and a sense of joy. You could see his attentiveness when he was cutting the fish and preparing the fish. Everything was so well cared for and maintained. And to be able to watch somebody who's not like behind the counter in the corner making all these rolls of sushi, but caring for every last detail, you wanted to hand over $1,000 for that meal. And that was the minimum to be able to eat there. Everything was cared for. And it was interesting for us to also be there because we got along famously. They loved the fact that we were there as ourselves. We were there with the same mission to create the most incredible experience for these clients, but to show why they were at the restaurant, why they were having this time in their lives, why he was proposing to her, what that interaction was. And now, ironically, we get into the fact of photography, and we were showing them a few photos in the back of the camera, and they were mind blown. They're like, we don't have any of this photography. Like, you're a Michelin star restaurant. Why don't you have this? And they said, we haven't had the right photographer. We found that the photographs that we were seeing were very formal and stiff in a sense, and that's not what they wanted to perceive. So if you go to their social media, it just has their logo, there's nothing else. And they said, for the first time, we're excited to put photographs on our Instagram and put things out there to change how we're being perceived. But everything is super refined. Every detail is cared for. It's all specifically designed for the experience. And it's not by accident. All of that is on purpose. And I think that's the idea of being authentic and working within a luxury market. Everything has a reason and a purpose. Every last little thing has been thought of. When he handed me his card to say, hey, let's keep in contact, it was one of the most beautiful cards I've held. It was simple. It had just the information. The spacing was perfect. The weight of the card, the feeling of the card, it all matched everything that went on in that experience. So we're telling this very intimate story of who they are together at the restaurant, the chef cooking for them. And it was fascinating to be able to tell the story in depth. And then, because of course, as you probably imagine, we do things very different. For our clients to experience their photographs, they come to our studio in Greenwich, and we have a huge 12-foot projection screen. And we look at artwork first so that they understand all the possibilities of how we make artwork. And then we sit back, the lights go down, the screen drops down. It's the entire 12-foot wall. And they see their photographs for the very first time. We want to put tissues out before they sit down, but we don't want to be presumptive of what may happen. So we always get up and bring the tissues while they're going through. We see them start wiping their eyes and little sniffles. And ironically, it's mostly the men. The women usually shed a tear. I think the men are the ones that are mind blown about the emotional impact they're having by seeing these photographs. And then we sit by their side to help them narrow down their photographs, help them figure out their favorites and how they want to live. But this entire meeting is driven by the clients. And every time they try to bring it in, am I going to put this into print? I don't want them to think that. Just find what resonates with you. The artwork will speak for itself. And then they get ideas. Let's make an album for chef to say thank you. We have to make prints for mom and dad to say thank you. We really should think about wall art for our new place. I haven't said anything. I'm just like, here's your photographs. They're the ones who start to describe how they want them to live and what resonates. And every time the artwork speaks for themselves. How many photographs do we have in the end? Which album resonates with you? Let's make it fit into there and find the best way to do it. And when I turn around and say, hey, your total is $17,000, they're like, okay, here's my credit card. It's very different. Or we say, hey, let's do a payment schedule. And if you can't pay in full at once, let's spread it out over time. Let's make the financial impact be next to nothing for the emotional impact and how that makes you feel in the end. Because in 5, 10, and 20 years, you're not going to remember what that cost. You're going to remember how it makes you feel. So what are the things that we can do that are going to set this apart from anything anyone else will do? So we've mastered the client communication. We've built the authentic online presence. We've created the portfolio that's irresistible because our technical aspects are there, our compositional aspects, editing aspects, everything is on point. We've also figured out the pricing and the packaging. Everything is cared for. Every piece of artwork has a beautiful bow on it. Everything is wrapped in biodegradable cellophane so that they can see it right through the cellophane. Everything is in a bag that fits, that they can carry. Every single detail is thought out in every single aspect. And that's what allows us to stay true to our authentic selves and not have to deal with anything else. And then just focus on our clients because everything else is cared for. The whole flow, how it goes, every little aspect. The last two things that we could talk about are really marketing and networking strategies. Like I said, I have not done marketing in 18 years. Our marketing has always been word of mouth. I always truly believe, just as print will always supersede digital and last the test of time, that word of mouth will always surpass any type of marketing. I think there's a level of trust that's built. There's a level of honesty that's there, but there's also the idea that someone knows someone to such an extent that they say, I know exactly what you need. And whenever that happens, the work that we do goes tenfold because we have common ground. We show up at the wedding and our past clients are there. And then other people see that we know other people and we're all involved together. But those past clients are portrait clients, are risque clients, or boudoir, as it's called in the industry. They're engagement clients. They're clients that we may do a headshot with on top of everything else. There's always a need for something in there. So we don't necessarily have to market to our clients. We just hang out with them. We call them. We text them. Hey, how's it going? I just talked to one today because I saw her post something and I went, oh my God, I haven't talked to you in so long. Let's catch up. And we had the greatest conversation and something will now come from that. An idea popped up. We're back in their heads. So there's so many things that we can do of sending gift certificates, of sending holiday cards. There's so many business things that can be done, but there's nothing that beats a solid hug and hello. Being able to say you're thinking of someone or care about someone. Our clients are family with us. They care about us just as well. During the pandemic, our clients were sending us money. We were getting Venmos of $2,000, $1,000, $800. And we're like, why are you sending us money right now? You don't owe us anything. And they say, we just want to make sure you see it through and that you survive through this. All I was reading online from other professionals was that they were getting sued. Somebody was canceling. Somebody had a problem with something else. And instead, our clients are going, I have my kids home for the first time in years. Everyone's together. Let's do a session. And we had honest conversations about when we tested, if we're wearing masks or whatever they asked, we would do it. And we would morph everything to be as safe as humanly possible to make everybody feel comfortable. And whatever concepts everyone has with it is their own thing. We did whatever our clients needed from us to allow them to have this experience. And our clients invested $15,000, $20,000. We did incredibly well with the work that we did. And we made it through because of the generosity of our clients, but also because of the concept of why they needed us there. The fact that they hadn't been that in love in years because all they do is work and come home and eat and sleep and clean. And they finally had time to rekindle their relationship because they finally had all their kids in one place, because they finally got pregnant and were able to relax enough to make this happen in their lives. And so they were finding those reasons to have us back. And it was the biggest honor and biggest respect that we were actually busy during that time. And that's where the authenticity, the honor, the grace, the why all comes into play, is that we don't hold back. This was me 15 years ago. This is me now. I have more gray hair than I did before. That has changed. I can't deny that part. But
We all?
Yeah, if anything, everything's been refined because we've done this so much now. And we're the professionals at this. They've never been through it. So I tell our clients, there is no question too big or too small, too silly or too stupid. I want you to ask me everything about what we are doing on the business side, on the technical side, on the lighting side. Ask me everything, because then we can get over it and move on from it and focus on why we are really here. The emotional energy, the impact, how something makes them feel. And mind you, this is not fluff and it's not done on the surface. This goes deep. We talk to our clients about how something makes them feel. How does it feel to be in each other's arms? How does it feel when you're busy in the kitchen and your husband walks by and just brushes his hand on your back? And you say it makes you feel safe. It reminds you that he's going to be there for you and he's supporting you. And regardless of how busy or how focused you are, he's got your back. Those are the little things that they have never told anyone before. And my favorite is when he says, I love when she squishes up her nose when she's laughing. Because we have these conversations independently. So I'll chat with the groom and he's like, I love it when she squishes up her nose when she's laughing. And then I have a conversation with the bride and she goes, I hate it when I squish my nose when I'm laughing. And so of course, this shot happens because she's laughing to something he said. And the photo pops up and she goes, oh my God, I can't deal with that. And he's like, that's exactly the photo I want. And so everybody has their different desires. And so we focus on them together as a couple, but also independently. When we do family sessions, we have a phone call with every single person that will be in front of our camera, maybe 10 or 11 and up. I love the kids. The kids are like, I just want my dad to play video games with me. They want something so simple, but it's so meaningful. They love those moments. And when that happens, and dad's too busy, he's got so much going on. And that's everything for that kid to show that dad wants to have that time with them. The marketing happens when they're sitting there and having a tough day and they look at their artwork and they're like, there's my why. And then somebody goes, that's amazing. I love that photograph of you. I've never seen you like that. And they go, this is who you have to call. But it's only for the right people. We're our own filter because somebody's going to see it and they're going to go, oh, I couldn't do that. That's not me. They may not call. And somebody said to me once, I would refer you, but you were very expensive. And I said, it's not for you to make the decision on what someone else values and what they're willing to invest in it. You may have thought your $12,000 investment was expensive. How does it feel now? And they were like, you're right. It's my favorite thing that I have. It was still a lot of money. And I said, I'm not going to deny that part. I'm not my own client. I would do a payment schedule just like you did. But you have no idea if your friend's going to invest 400 or 4,000 or 40,000. It's their call. But don't deny them of the opportunity to have an experience of something that could be incredibly life-changing and meaningful, and let them decide that for themselves. Don't put that on to them. We have a guy that does Facebook ads for us. That's a new venture. It's been interesting. They're very cold leads. It's very interesting to try to help someone find the value within themselves on a cold lead that didn't seek us out. Some people are like, you should be paying me to photograph me. And I'm like, that's hysterical. I'm not looking for a model. And we have some people who are like, I've wanted this for so long. This sounds like a dream. And they're the ones who turn this experience into something truly life-changing. We're not for everyone. We give everyone the same text, the same calls, the same email, the same time. It's for them to make the decision on what they want to do with it and how. All of these things have helped us sustain our business and sustain our growth. And even during the hard times, during market crashes and pandemics and everything that's gone on, we have grown throughout all of it. And it's because of all of this playing a role as one. Previously, we always had a team and we always had people helping us with this. When the pandemic started, our team graciously got other jobs so that we wouldn't have to carry them through the pandemic. We were very grateful. They would still come back and work with us from time to time, but they didn't want us to have to carry them through. But of course, we had great people here, and then those other jobs wanted to keep them, and they didn't come back to the same extent. And so for 2 years afterwards, Chris and I did everything here ourselves. Everything. We played every role in the business. I basically worked 16, 18-hour days. Chris is the one who does the cooking. And we joked that Chris would bring me fresh food on my right-hand side and pick up the dirty plate on my left-hand side because I just worked. And we were able to actually grow the business during that time. And we realized that Chris and I were able to sustain and grow the business. And that was because we created such refined systems on the back end that our systems did not fail us. Everything else failed around us and all these other businesses, all these other companies, we were able to hold strong and be able to find ways to refine that system to make things even faster, even easier flowing. So then I decided I was tired and we were still there for all our clients, still had amazing experiences, but I was tired. And so we decided to bring on a new team. And I was doing it slowly because I wanted to make sure it was just right. And we hired someone to be a studio manager for part-time. And for 6 months before we hired her, she would message and she would text and she'd say, when you're ready, I'm here. And I'm like, I'm too busy. I can't do this right now. And she's like, I'm here when you're ready. And she would be super supportive and everything was good. So I started bringing her on. We said, okay, let's do this. And then a couple of weeks later, I said, I really could use someone to be another associate shooter. And so I put a call out for associate shooters and somebody responded. She then took on a whole new role in our business that we didn't expect and became our post-production manager. So Nikki took on that role. Marcy took on the role of studio management. And then Kate came along. She was working for a venue and she emailed us and said, hey, I wanted to say hello. You're on the top of our preferred vendor list and I'm new working events here. And I wanted to introduce myself and see how we could work together. And I was like, I have never heard of your venue before. I'm so sorry. So somebody put us on this list and we have never even heard of the venue, but Kate was doing an amazing job reaching out. So we said, we'll come see the venue. We'll meet you and we'll see whatever we can do to give you an amazing experience for your clients. A couple months later, Kate decided it wasn't a fit for her at the venue, but we kept in touch. And we ended up doing a risque shoot with her. And she was so moved by her experience that she then started the same thing that Marcy started and Nikki started. And every couple of weeks, she would say, when can I come work with you? When can I come do this with you? I really want to be part of this. And then we brought Kate on. And now Kate handles our calls and some of our social media and our Facebook groups and things like that. But all three women came at us the same way. I want to be part of this. I can see something that's deeper in this than I see in anything else. And we all have the same goal, and it's not photography. Our goal is to change our clients' lives. Our goal is to create an experience for our clients that they see a whole new side of themselves or their loved ones or something around them that will carry them to the next part of their lives, to celebrate their accomplishments, to celebrate their connections, their communication, their journey. It's not photography. And because we were all aligned with this major goal, we all have been able to come together in the most cohesive way possible to now expand the experience for our clients. So now I get a break. I think we're at a point where we can actually check everything off, but they've all been a part of refining everything for the business, creating protocols, refining systems, figuring out ways to make everything work more fluidly. We have an IT guy who's helped us make everything more remote. Everything has a purpose. And now we are able to bring things to a whole new level for our clients. So part of that success and that growth is reinvesting in your business constantly. We're always revisiting the protocols, our interactions with clients, how we write our emails, how our systems are functioning. All of this is constantly being revised, rethought, revisited to provide the best experience for our clients, not through photography. It's really about refining how we can best hand them back something that they love and that they feel, but they can't actually touch. And it's why they have their jobs, their houses, their businesses, their everything. Keeping on that main goal, even our IT guy is on the same goal. This person really had that profound experience, and he actually didn't believe that we do what we do and that we are as acclaimed as we are. I just said, yeah, we're top 10 here, top 50 there. If you ask my mom, we're number one in the whole universe. That's pretty far up there. And he thought I was just messing with him. And then I had him and Nikki on a Zoom to do some work together. And he's like, can you tell me what goes on there? She goes, you don't know about them? She's like, yeah, this is really what they do. They've been in all these publications, all these awards. And I was like, Max, did you not go on our website? He's like, did. And I'm like, what do you think? It's just there for show. I was like, this is all very real. But he really just couldn't believe it because he got to know us personally. He didn't see us for our work and what we did. He just knew us on the phone together. And maybe there were some snarky comments here and there. Maybe there was a lot of laughter. Maybe we're sharing lots of silly cat videos. So he knows us for who we are and still couldn't comprehend that we were this highly acclaimed and doing such luxury work in our business because we were so much of our authentic self. And he was so used to working with business people. So hopefully that kind of helps everyone with concepts and ideas and ways to grow your business in a luxury world, keeping it very authentic.
That was actually perfect. And
okay, cool.
this is one that I feel like people are going to want to know. Obviously, when you're building a relationship with a future client and you don't know at that time, and this is very important for everyone else to hear, Jacklyn will not know if this person is a $5,000, a $10,000, a $20,000, a $100,000 client. She won't know right out of the gate because a lot of that happens in stage 2 of her sales process when she's selling the products. So my question is, how long do you spend in your initial consultation to make sure that you're building the right foundations and the right trust? And also, how do you pre-qualify to know whether it's a good idea to spend that much time with them?
Great question. So initial consultations are usually an hour. Most clients think it's going to be 10 minutes and I'm going to do what every other photographer did and run through their packages and tell them how things go. They don't expect the call to go the way that it does. And we want to know their why. We want to know who they are and what moves them. I had a call with this couple and they were referred to us by their coordinator, their planner. And so we get on the call and they had questions about the wedding. And I was like, I get the wedding. I want to know about the two of you. And the soon-to-be bride goes, hey, to her fiance, why don't you take this? And he goes, okay. So we met 3 years ago and you could hear the sigh and the down tone of his voice that he was suddenly going to the same story he's told everyone else. And I went, whoa, easy there. Totally going to find out at some point how you met and what went on. I want to know why you're in love. I want to know what it is about you that is moving you and blowing your mind that you want to spend the rest of your life with this woman. And he was like, oh, okay. And I told him, I will never forget that sigh. And we laughed about it for the longest time because I was like, oh my God, that sigh. I want to know the little bits and pieces in between. And so that call may have lasted 10 minutes if he just told me that story and asked those few questions and asked why. But we get on the phone and we just start chatting. And by the end, an hour has gone by. No one realizes it's been that long, but it's almost exactly an hour. And they're like, I feel like I've been talking to a friend I've known for a long time. And in that time, we've talked about details and ranges of what things can cost. We've talked about what they want out of this and their expectations, but most of the call is talking about their why, about what they value about each other, what they love about each other, little bits and pieces that they don't expect. Within that hour, they know and we know whether or not it's going to be a fit. And there's still the whole like, hope we hear back from them, hope they want to book. And it's usually pretty quick that they're like, this is amazing, this is a fit, this is what we want. And usually if we don't hear back from a day or two, we start sending follow-ups and then final follow-up. We know it's not going to work. And we also know if they're not reactive and attentive to that emotional energy, chances are it's not going to be a fit. And that's okay. That's what they want, but that's not us. We're going to have them interacting and showing the love and the care for themselves. And it could still be all those same shots I just described, but they're going to feel really good because our clients will be doing them because they want to and not because we told them to do it. And if we do tell them to do it, they still do it as if we didn't tell them to do it because we also teach them that, right? So there is that little part of it. So it all happens within that hour and it's pretty much for any phone call.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. To keep this one short, when you do the second sales moment, when you're selling the products, how long does that usually take?
That also ranges. I would say we aim for 2 to 4 hours with a portrait session. Sometimes it's 4 to 6. We aim for 4 to 6 with a wedding. Sometimes it's 6 to 8. We had a client that just wrapped up a wedding reveal and design session in 2.5 hours. We had another client that took 10. We're there for them. It doesn't matter to us how long they take. It matters what they resonate with and what they find in the end that they feel good about. So they can take as much time as we need.
Yeah. So I want you all to hear that because sometimes to work at this level and to take a sale from a $10,000 sale or a $20,000 sale to an $80,000 or $100,000 sale sometimes is going to take some hours. But when you have something that's $100,000, $200,000 contract, you got to spend time. Mm-hmm. That's just it. I just wanted to point that out because a lot of times people's attention is like, how do I get through this consultation? Jacklyn and I have been doing this for quite some time. We know when someone's an investor. We know when somebody's ready to rock. Like, you feel it and you know it. So I think that's important for you to note that if it's going to be one of those massive clients, that you are going to take some more time and it's not going to be an easy in and easy out. But I wanted you to hear about the 1 hour in the initial consultation, because I think that's important, because that could take longer. And Jacklyn is really good at keeping that concise. And so by the time she gets around to the second selling moment, she's already been working with them. She has a relationship with them, and she knows that this is her moment to upgrade that sale from 10K to 100K or whatever it is. So just wanted to point that out. And I'm remembering back to when we were working together like 15 years ago, and I was 20 something, and you had dreadlocks, and people would always say to us, we were both young, like very young to be selling what we were selling at the time, to be serving at the level and working with the people that we were working with. And so a lot of people would ask me, like, how do you go in there and just be yourself? Or how do you go into that consultation knowing that you're only 20, whatever years old? Like, how do you go in with confidence? And so with you, I think what people would ask you back then is, you're going to meet with a celebrity and you have dreads. Do you remember those moments back then? And we were just like, we are. We were feisty, like we were ready to rock. And so I think it might be a question for some people, because a lot of times I hear from our clients things like, do I have to change the way I look or what I wear? Or do I need to have this persona of myself that is like the luxury version of myself? And I'll tell you the answer is no. But I met with the biggest client I've ever met with in my entire life, and they told me that they loved me before I even said a word. So this is really what I want Jacklyn to share too. Like, how do you be a badass about it? How do you just walk in and it doesn't matter what you're wearing? Because it doesn't. And how do we get past that this is a billionaire, or this is a millionaire, or this is a celebrity, or this is a supermodel? Like, how do we just go in as we are? I
think it matters within reason. I definitely think showing up in jeans and a t-shirt that's not an aesthetic reason to be wearing that is different than, I live in all black. So I could still be in jeans and a t-shirt, and I probably look hopefully just as put together as if I have something different on. Do you remember we had a billionaire client years ago, and I remember walking in to meet them for the first time and going to their home. We didn't have a studio back then. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I walked in and we brought all of our artwork with us, and we brought albums and wall art. We walk in and I got right up to the door frame of her dining room. She was sitting with you, and she looks up and over and goes, "You're hired."
Hired me too on my way out.
I was like, no, it's not going to go like that. I do appreciate that. Hopefully you've seen some of our work, and I do appreciate that you love it, but you're going to have the same meeting as everyone else. I want you to know our work inside and out to make sure you are unbelievably super comfortable to understand what you'll have in the end and how it'll be yours, but we're going to have this meeting. I also just dragged all this shit to your house for so long to do this with you. And that relationship went on for years. It went on through an engagement, a risque, a wedding, 3 maternity sessions, 3 births, 3 newborn shoots, family sessions for years and years. Yeah. And it was quite an interesting experience, but she literally hired me on the spot because she loved the fact that we were creating the work that we were creating, and I had dreadlocks, and I used to wear them up in a big bun and still had some aesthetic, but at the same time, I was just being myself. And the reason I didn't cut my hair was because somebody said to me that I couldn't photograph luxury weddings with my hair like that. And I was like, shit, I guess I'm not going to cut my hair. And I did everything that I could to prove that it wasn't about that. Our clients actually wanted us there because they loved the fact that I had dreadlocks and I was being myself and doing my own thing. And for 16 years, I had the longest dreadlocks, and they got to the
heaviest dreadlocks. They were so heavy.
So long and heavy down to my knees. And a few years ago, we flew to Iceland and Chris cut my dreads off. And it was, how do I set myself apart when I had this very visual thing that from a distance, I was different than everyone else. And I loved that aspect. I also loved that most people treated me like shit. I would hold the door for them and they'd be like, oh, and I would look at them and say, I can cut my hair, but can you change your attitude? And they would be like, what did you just say? And I'm like, you heard me. And it was very simple. But the people who connected with that who loved the fact that I was an artist and being myself and being authentic to myself, desired to have me there. And that, honestly, I think it was one of the biggest factors. Imagine going to like Grace Armand parties because we're on the cover of Grace Armand, we have dreadlocks and going
I was
to
right there with
parties.
you.
I know we did all of those, and I did it as a dreadlocked woman. What I wouldn't give to still have one of the best things I ever did, because it pushed me to be so honest and true with myself and be able to still excel and exceed at my career and at my job in a place where this wasn't necessarily accepted.
Except for what you'll learn and what you all will find out one way or another over time is that affluent people appreciate artistry like no other. When I was selling Jacklyn, because you would have to pre-sell to your client, like you need Jacklyn, like she's the one for you. I would say she is an artist. So I'm already painting the picture. So if somebody is asking, I would sell Jacklyn before Jacklyn sold herself, because I would have to say, you're going to meet Jacklyn. Her work is edgier than most. She is a true artist. And because of your style of your home and the things that you like and the clothes that you wear, I really think Jacklyn is the perfect person for you. So I'm already pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you've all been listening to Jacklyn speak and hearing her voice and realizing how classy AF Jacklyn is. Like, she is smart. She is kind. She is gentle. She is caring. And that is all extremely genuine. And that has nothing to do with looks. So I think what are people actually connecting to is Jacklyn, regardless of what her hair looks like. It doesn't matter, because these affluent people, they know, like when they look at an artist on, we don't have MTV anymore, I just aged myself. But if they're looking at Post Malone, that's an artist. So I think it's important for us to not get wrapped up in, I need to wear Chanel in order to go to a luxury appointment. F that, you don't. But you need to be put together to some degree. Like, you can't be, like Jacklyn said, in jeans unless it really is your aesthetic. And if there's a certain reason for that, you have to be tidy and neat and clean. And I think that's important. But I do want you to also hear through what she's saying and to how she talks. Because even if she's not flat out selling to someone, the way she's connecting is doing the selling for her. So I'm really excited. Like, later on, you can go back and you can listen to Jacklyn talk and just listen to the way she says things. She uses beautiful words. She's very intelligent. And I think that goes a really long way. Meanwhile, like back in the day, we were just walking into these homes like you guys have never seen. We're just like, they're going to love us or list us. That's it. Like, we're in or we're out. There's no reason to put on an air or wear something that we wouldn't wear, because if they hire us, then we have to show up as whatever they hired again. We can't just go out and buy a new outfit every time before you go meet with your client.
That's an important concept, because it's really about being your authentic self. For years, I always felt like I had to have a nice ballet flat or Mary Jane or some type of shoe that was like nice for weddings. And my feet hurt and my knees hurt and my back hurts. And we've been shooting weddings for 18 years and they're grueling 10, 12, 16-hour days where we stop for 10 minutes on a 16-hour day. And it's exhausting. And we're also not normal in how we shoot. We're not just walking through and photographing everything right. We're down low and up high,
timing things.
Yeah, try to give this perspective that is dramatically different to create so much interest in the day. So I've been looking to try to find something that really feels good on my back. And so I called our client this year and she's like, how are you doing? I know your back was bothering you. Are you feeling good? I was like, I am. I've been trying to figure out what I can do for shoes for your wedding because I've been living in Birkenstock. She's like, just wear them. And I'm like, I can't wear Birkenstocks to your wedding. And she's like, well, why not? I don't care what shoes you have on as long as you do your job. And I was like, are you serious? And she goes, why do I care what shoes you have on? I have you there because of who you are and what you do. Couldn't care. If you tell me those are the shoes that you need to get your job done, wear them. I shot the best wedding I have shot in years. I was cool. I was relaxed. My back didn't hurt. My knees didn't hurt. Every client, I felt like I had to call them. And I did. And I said, oh my God, I've been dealing with my back and I found that I'm comfortable in Birkenstocks. They're like, yeah, we don't care what shoes you wear. Every single client said the same thing. Yeah. I've had the best year in July and I'm shooting a wedding in sandals. Never thought I would do that. But honestly, every single client was like, I don't care if you're in sneakers, and I still can't just wear sneakers. They have to be like really nice black ones with maybe a little metallic something. Like it still has to be the right one. It can't just be whatever it is, but I'm not putting those same constraints as what I did years ago, feeling like I had to have a dress shoe to be at a dressy wedding. So I make sure they understand I'm not comfortable in the aesthetic for a wedding, but I feel good and it helps me do my job so that they don't care. And that blew my mind.
So a lot of people are nervous to talk to high-end people. Like they're nervous to talk to a celebrity, or they would be nervous to talk to somebody who's very affluent because they're in their mind putting them on this kind of pedestal. So do you have any tips about how do you get over that fear? Because I think a lot of people do have an innate fear of that.
Honestly, it doesn't faze me. I'm losing it because I want to say something that will probably
Do it.
Everybody poops.
Yeah.
Everybody poops. I'm sorry. But like, how else do you keep it so real? We're working with Steven Tyler and Misty Copeland, and they're so fucking good at who they are and what they do that it's easy to work with them. Clients who can spend are easy to work with. They can have anything in the world that they want, and they want what you're doing with them. They want the interaction. They want the aesthetic. They want something that no one else has. And so it's easy because the pressure of are they going to spend is off. They here, take my credit card. That part doesn't matter. So then you're truly taking the financial impact out and you're focusing on the emotional impact more than anything. When you have Steven Tyler walk up to you and say, I want you to photograph me for my book. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like the most photographed musician around. And he goes, I've never been photographed before. And I'm like, am I missing something? Like, how could that be possible? And he goes, okay, you're right. I've been photographed, but no one's ever photographed me. That hits home. He said he's walked into every single shoot he's ever had. And they said, welcome, Mr. Tyler. Wear these clothes, stand here, take the photo. Okay, you're done. No one's ever photographed him, who he is, how he feels, why something is going on. And that's what he connected with. Misty Copeland, prima ballerina, girl is top of her game, unreal at what she does. When we started the shoot, I said to Misty, here's our lighting, here's how things are going to go. And her manager cut me off and she goes, she knows about lighting. She's been photographed plenty of times. And I was like, I'm sure she does. We're just talking about this in this setting. I'm like, we got this. And she just looked at her manager and was like, what's the point? And I was being judged by her manager because of my dreads and because I wasn't Vogue or Harper's Bazaar or whatever may go on at whoever's doing the fashion shoot with Misty Copeland. And Misty turned around and cried when she saw her photos, fell in love with them to the point where she reached out and wanted to use those photographs in the book that she was writing because those were her and those were her authentic self. Yeah. It wasn't her doing a ballet pose. It was her being and feeling like her. And it's a very different interaction. So when we have affluent clients, I'm like, sweet, this just knocks off a whole level. They can get whatever the hell they want. They have the money for it. It doesn't matter. Our affluent clients think we are too inexpensive. That's bizarre. They think we could cost more for what we do. And when I say, okay, it's $12,000, they're like, perfect, here you go. I could have said 22,000. They would have said, perfect, here you go.
And part of what I want people to hear from what you're saying here, I think what's important is that affluent people are people. Most of the time they get Mr. and Mrs. Most of the time they get treated like they're on a pedestal. And so they don't necessarily always want to feel like they're on a pedestal. They want to be a human. And so that's what you're hearing, what Jacklyn is saying about photographing them as they are. This is why questions are so important. And this is why it's not about you selling yourself. Because if you hadn't already sold yourself to some degree, you wouldn't be having that conversation. So they're already sold on you. Now they want to know why it would be you versus someone else. And so the only thing that they can hold on to at that point is that you're treating them the way they want to be treated. You're asking them a question in a way that makes them feel like a human and not like an object, because they're used to being treated as a king or a queen or someone who's up here. And maybe they want to share their emotion about their project. Maybe they want to share why something's important to them. So those questions are so important. Okay.
That's what we're brought in for. We're there for that purpose. But like you said, we're still caring for them. We're just relating to them in a heart-to-heart way, as if we were family and friends.
Yeah.
As if we've been there all along, and carrying on that relationship when we can have difficult conversations and joyful conversations, when there's tears, when there's laughter. Our luxury clients are so happy to spend with us, but there's so much time involved with creating that relationship that's nurtured through the relationships that they've been introduced to us by, through our website, through our Instagram. Everything comes into place, and we can have those conversations of, hey, how are you feeling today? What's going on? We just hadn't heard from one. She didn't text me right back, and that's not like her. And I said, how are things going since your dog's surgery? It's been difficult. It's been hard. Let's chat. They're so happy to talk about that. And I'll take an hour to find out how her dog is doing and what's going on with them. But that's part of the relationship and where the connection and communication comes into play.
And to be clear, if you, the people on the other end of this video, were meeting Jacklyn, her tone of voice, the way she talks, the way she presents herself, the way she wears her jewelry, the way her watch is on, is going to be the same, no matter if you are a billionaire or a supermodel. Just like when I go and meet with a very affluent billionaire for something, I'm me. Mm-hmm. I don't do anything differently.
I had this experience. I got to tell you, this is super quick. So we worked with this super high-end planner in New York. And before we worked with her, whenever there's a new planner, I want to be on the phone with them to say hello, find out their needs, their desires, how they work, what we can do for them, to let them know we are there to tell the story from all these different perspectives of the day. And obviously, first and foremost, for the clients. And the planner goes, who do you think you are charging prices like that? She goes, you're no one in this industry unless I know you. And I was like, okay, well, now you know me. What do you want me to say? It's like super awkward. And so it was an unreal conversation. And she just was throwing darts at me. And I just, as usual, just went on with my natural ways and natural self. And now my whole team is looking at me going, oh my God, because I'm like, this is intense. And then by the end of the call, she's like, we're going to get along fabulously. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
and
we're
I'm
like testing you to see if you've, got it.
So when we went to go and meet her, I knew I had to have something that was going to help her find a relationship to her understanding and her desires. She was all about luxury. She was about whose diamond ring was big enough. And so I called my mom. I was like, can I borrow your ring? And so I wore my mom's ring. And sure enough, it was like out of a textbook. She went to my ring, to my purse, to my ring, back to me. And I made sure to borrow a luxury bag. I don't have any luxury bags. I eventually might have one, but no one ever sees me with them. But I had to make sure for this meeting, I went through test number 2. Had the bag, had the ring, everything was fine on that. Then the wedding day came up, curveball after curveball. And it was like I was a professional ball player. Every single one caught it, threw it back, caught it, threw it back. No problem. She was throwing curveballs on purpose. Everything was a test. And this was a 12-hour
rare wedding. Though. It really is rare, I feel like.
Yes, it's very rare. It's very difficult. It was a $2.5 million wedding. There were 465 guests. It was 4 floors of a huge professional photography studio in New York. And the clients wanted us. They didn't want anybody else. They didn't care about who she offered us because all those photographers had photographed everyone else they knew. They wanted us because we were different. And mind you, I had dreadlocks then. So there's another curveball and another hill I have to climb with it. And at the end of the wedding, when she saw the photographs, she called and said, I want to hand you all our weddings. I want to do everything with you. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do them with you. No. I mean, like, now that we know each other, I'm happy to do that. But everything was a test and we surpassed it beyond her wildest expectations. and did it with love and respect and a smile. And you never saw us sweat. You didn't see us eat. You didn't see us drink. You didn't see us sweat. But we were sweating. We were tired and we were hungry and thirsty, but we knew how to play it as a team. And our clients, of course, they're like, eat, drink. We want you to have a good time. We're like, we're doing great. But everything was maintained for the planner. And she still saw our authentic self, but we had to help her along with the things that she found important so she could see through that to finally get to that point. And I would have loved to have done more weddings with her, but that was a conscious decision on maybe the clientele wouldn't have been a fit going on. There were a lot of things in play with that. And I might revisit it still. We're still in contact. We still know each other. It's all been great since then, but oh my God, like the things sometimes you have to do, but we're still us. Like nothing changed. I just gave her a ring and a purse because she felt that was important.
Larissa, I'll pass it over to you. Do you have any remaining questions, or did we hit them all up through that?
Honestly, you answered a lot of the questions, and I think I just have one. You said earlier that you were the same 15 years ago as you are today.
Yeah.
And I love that because I just met you a couple of minutes before we came on this call, and I can feel the connection and the passion that you have, not just for your work, but for your team, for the clients that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a lot of people may have trouble finding their own authenticity. Maybe they're just beginning, maybe they feel stuck. So what are the steps that you might recommend for people to help take them into a place where they can actually own their style and authenticity that is timeless?
Wait, one question. That's a hell of a question. It's a really good question.
She's no joke.
That's
why I love
warned
her.
me about you.
So
She did.
smart.
Yeah, I think it's really in finding the things you love, the things that move you, finding the love in life, in what that thing may be for you. Some people it's water and it's the beach, or it's the love for plants and mountains. For some people, it's the love of cooking. I do believe, especially in our industry, we are people with passions. I think there is a section of people who work in this industry who do it as a job, but you can tell that's a very high volume and someone who's going through the motions as a job. And then there are those of us who see it as a passion, and finding those elements that move you and bringing that through into who you are is important. When we were doing our website, the reason we did it with Erica is because I trust her. Obviously, we have a decade and a half of love and trust. I know that she's going to know who we are and what our aesthetic is, but she said, go and make a Pinterest board of inspiration. And I still look at that board because it actually makes me happy, but it was things that I love. It was just things I love. And it was butterflies that were in the cleoche, and it was
A lot of plants.
It was moss. Yeah, I was going to say it was moss and plants. And
Deep dark colors.
yep, like a lot of wood, a lot of dark colors.
To this day, because she knows my style so well and I know her, Jacklyn and I are sending each other like cat videos, animal videos, owls. And then if we see something that's so the other person's style, like I'll send her a home that is in that deep, dark, like moody style with plants everywhere. Yeah. Pinterest is very helpful, and I've done it for myself too. And as much as Jacklyn has always been the same, I've changed. So I can talk about it from that perspective as well. You don't have to stay the same forever. I just went brown with my hair. I've been blonde, I've been red, I've been all these things, but I'm still me, right?
But your aesthetic is there, right? You've always been like
light and bright and
creams and blues and these kind of oceany colors.
Yeah.
And I've always been these blacks and grays and dark greens and brown. There are elements where you are, as much as you say you've changed, I don't know, I'm going to speak on behalf of the past 15 years of our lives. This is still you. This has always been you and your energy. Maybe you have different outfits now,
but they're in the same color palette.
That's my point. That's my point, is it's still you. It's a refined version of you. There's no reason, even though I say I stay the same, I guess I still live in Birkenstocks, and that's been well over 30 years now. I was wearing them before anyone knew they were a fashion fad because they were just always been so comfortable. And I was wearing Uggs home from Australia, and people were like, I'm not going out with you with those things on. They're ugly. I'm like, that's the point. And now Uggs are a fashion thing. There are things that you just have to hold true to what you resonate with without caring about someone else's thought or concept or idea, but something that you just love. And honestly, I would say make a Pinterest board. And on that Pinterest board, there's everything from fonts that I think are interesting, outfits that I think are interesting, color palettes that are interesting, interiors that are beautiful.
Can you pull up yours real quick?
Sure. Oh my goodness.
I'll show you guys mine so you can see when I was making this recording room that I'm sitting in right now. And you can look at it here and then look at it right here. It's the same aesthetics. There's a lot of jungle plants in here, which you can't see them right now, but all of the things that you're looking at here are in this room in one way or another, even down to my Jade Phoenix, who's right there. This guy is right behind me. And I wanted you to see this because when we were deciding what art to put on the wall over there, I found the one that's over there now, which is white and very organic and very me. But I also found one that was very not me, but I loved it. And what I ended up doing was I brought them both home because I was like, I can't decide. And I was like, F this, I'm just buying them both. I'm bringing them both home. I'm putting it on the wall and then I'm making a decision. But when I put it on the wall, I was like, that is so not me. This is me in a nutshell. Soft. I love cacti. I love jungle plants. I love white. I love wood tones. And I love plants and greens and things like that and turquoise, watery stuff. So how did I find that? Was I just sat there and just pinned everything that I loved and then started looking for trends. What is that trend? Oh, I like this color. I always like this color. I always like gray. I always like white. Like, how do you find it? Is you spend time with yourself without anyone else around to really just do that. Just pin ideas and pin things you like. And don't even look for trends until after you've been pinning for a while. And I do the same thing with clothes too. I will actually pin clothes before I buy them and then see what they look like and make sure that they still feel like me. So for example, these were for an event. So I pinned things that I might want to wear to that event. This was one of our retreats. And I was making sure that everything flowed together and that it felt like me. But I will do that. If I am having a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need more clothes, I will put like 100 things into a cart and then just wait for a minute. And then just look at it again and be like, does this still feel like me? Or did I just put this in here because it looked cute on the model? We have had our styles, but sometimes you have to remind yourself what your style is. And I think the Pinterest board is great for that.
All right, here's ours. So these are some fonts that we found. Here's different like branding ideas and like black on black and adding plants and keeping things super organic and simple, and like the wood pieces and the gifts that just all look so cohesive with beautifully made things. Wood cards, black on black.
Waiting for the plants, guys.
Love the simplicity and the aesthetic. Oh yeah, here's all the plants. It's hanging like we have in our studio now. The
and
wood,
that,
we have
like
wood
even that mid-century,
that's what it looks like.
It looks like that in your space.
Yeah, we have this actual credenza in our space, and there's so much, even locations. Look at how sexy that is. That is stunning. Even Iceland with all the green, the waterfalls, and the reflections.
And many of those places
wow.
you've been already, which I love.
Yeah, Big Sur, one of my favorite places.
And are you guys seeing the vibe?
Oceans with the butterflies, even old cameras in them, because I love the way the light reflects on that clear ocean. It just speaks that there's something like important and just precious in there. And I love the way that the cameras have been interlaced with natural things and old photos. This was one of my favorites. Like all the lights.
There's like cases within cases. Like it's that special that it's a case.
Here's our actual ribbon and some of our own photographs that resonate with us. And here's one of Misty Copeland's favorite photographs.
And I think you guys can see as you're looking at Jacklyn's board how seamlessly her work flows into it. Yeah, because her work and it just flowed in as if it fit right in with this board.
Yep. I have this lamp right here. Just things that already, who can deny the soft gray bunny and like the little pit bull and like ferns. Look at how giant this fern is. Like that is giant. And this is so sexy. And look at all the eggs and the color of the earth and the sensuality and the light reflecting off of bubbles in the water.
But you guys see how it flows and then how different it is from mine. And I
Mhm.
think that's really important to just see that.
Yeah. So
But
beautiful.
mine is so me and Jacqueline's is so her.
Yeah. And more of our actual photos are in here and they
And
just
they flow right in.
Yep. They just flow in with everything.
I think we pinned for about 40 million hours onto
Oh
this.
my God. And I could keep going.
Right. And then it will all still flow. And this was years and years ago.
This is the book that our photos for Misty Copeland are in. And even that aesthetic matches the rest of the aesthetic.
Everything.
Yep.
Even if you're looking behind Jacqueline, whatever's behind her matches so seamlessly with her aesthetic. And then you're looking behind me and this matches my Pinterest board. So I think that's how you find it, is you look within. I don't think you find it by looking what other people are doing, because then it's not authentic anymore, right?
Everyone's different. Some people have live, laugh, love signs that they got at TJ Maxx and that's what they care about. Everybody's different.
It's just what you are. That's how you find it.
But you let that carry through in your aesthetic of your business, and that's what sets you apart, because no one else can be you. No one else can carry that aesthetic or create that aesthetic. That's you. And I think that's what people connect with, is they love the fact that this is you. When we walked into that billionaire's home and she went, "You're hired." And I was like, no, doesn't happen like that. You can't look at my aesthetic and be like, "You look like an artist. You're probably good at what you do." And Erica said, "You're good at what you do, so I'm going to say it's okay." I want you to have the full experience and know deep down on every decision you could make, this is the right thing.
Thank you so much for coming on, Jacqueline. I
Pleasure.
know that people, if they weren't on live, they're going to watch the replay. I know that they're going to actually love our little like bonus moment at the end, because I really do think that's like the devil is in the details. Or sometimes you can say so many things, but then sharing is different, like teaching and sharing. And so I really appreciate you being such an open book and just saying it like it is and not sugarcoating it and telling us what you have experienced. I think it's really important. Oh my gosh, I'm on your website because I pulled it up and there's an owl right there.
Of course.
So I think it was very helpful for people to hear like how you think about things and the way you do things. I'm just on your website because I love it. So make sure you go on to jagstudios.net and com at this point. You have both. They both go to the same place. Get there either way. And then Larissa and I will share all of Jacqueline's links. And then like she will travel. So if you have a client that loves her and you're in Colorado, she will come there. Like she will go anywhere. So keep that in mind. Also, she does editorials. She does events. She does interiors and homes. If there's any aesthetic project related to a home, she can do it. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, thanks.
And she's fantastic. So thank you so much for being here, Jacqueline.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. Anything we can ever do together is always a fun time. Here, if anybody needs anything, just reach out.
All right. We'll talk to you all soon, guys.